So we mentioned this story yesterday, late afternoon, when we found out that it turns out the Task Force on Linguistic Policy is taking Quebec to court on Bill 96. To which I said, I think at the time, again, or is this the same story
Nope,
all over again?
Again.
It is again, and it's not again because it's a completely different perspective this time around. So Andrew Caddell, who is with the Task Force on Linguistic Policy, he's also a town councilor in Kamouraska, is here in studio with us. Andrew, welcome. There's a lot of explanation to this, certainly from, I think, my point of view, trying to understand what is different this time from the original decision by the task force to take the government to court over Bill 96. So let's start with that.
Well, our previous case on May 31st was 6 people, and I'm one of the plaintiffs, who have specific cause against the Quebec government that Bill 96 was ruining their lives, and therefore we took them to court. So that was that case. Now, since then, we've had dozens of people telling us of really, really awful circumstances where they have been refused service in English, that they have one woman who nearly died of sepsis because she was turned away from a hospital. Just constant stories. We've been asking people for stories at the task force, and if anybody wants to send in any, they can to our website, www.thetaskforce.ca. But so when we found this, we really felt there was a need to say, okay, this is enough. Enough is enough. We have to stop the government in its tracks. And it was bound to happen because the Legault government has been sowing a climate of fear and insecurity within the Anglophone community week after week, even day after day. So we said, okay, that's enough. We're going to bring in an injunction.
Okay. So you mentioned a couple of cases. I heard you earlier as well. So you're talking about this woman who couldn't get service in English. She almost died of sepsis. Then there was a guy who went to the SAAQ, couldn't get served in English. How many people like this do you have on this?
We have 30, and I'm sure we could have thousands.
30?
Oh, I think you could have way more than that.
Oh, for sure.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah.
So,
and we verified every single one of their cases.
Okay. So given the fact that you now have 30, if you will call them plaintiffs in this particular case, what happens next? How does this progress through the system?
Well, we go to court on the 6th of February. We'll be before a judge of the Superior Court.
Already?
Yep. Because it's an interlocutory injunction. I mean, it's a delay of a couple of weeks, but so it's not tomorrow. But
that's pretty quick, though. 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Well, the attorneys general of Quebec and Canada are going to have to start doing their homework, and we've got a pretty good case, and I'm confident that at the very least we're going to put the fear of God in the Legault government and put us, as they say, un bâton dans les roues.
Well, I like the sound of that, I have to say. So February 6th, when is a decision rendered, and then when would the implications of that decision go into effect?
Well, normally, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but normally what would happen is there'd be a couple of days and there'd be a decision. There's already been one injunction that has succeeded, and that was the Fasken law firm that did it with corporate contracts. And there will be another, from what I understand, the EMSB is going to be bringing an injunction, Côte St. Luc is expected to be bringing in an application for an injunction too on their case. But the reason is that, you just can't let these extreme nationalists be emboldened by every little step that keeps on encroaching on our community.
Right.
And so we as a grassroots-based organization, funded by individuals. I mean, we've raised over $100,000 for our legal cases. We're going to need a lot more. But we have, I think, succeeded in doing a substantive attack on this bill.
My next, as we go through, I realize we don't want to get sort of bogged down in processes here, but the idea is you take this, here's 30 plaintiffs, you have an injunction or you have a trial coming up on February the 6th. So best you can hope for in a ruling would say what and do what and effect what?
So as in the Fasken case, where they stopped the application of contracts being required in French only, this could conceivably stop the application of Bill 96 in the license bureaus, in any government services. You wouldn't see those stupid historic Anglophone descriptions that you can't read this website unless you have a DNA test. So all of those things would cease to apply.
Effective of the ruling.
That's right.
I
in a perfect world,
too excited
in a
about
perfect
world.
But wait a sec. I mean, even if that were the case, like everything else, could the government then simply turn around and go, well, we're going to appeal that ruling?
Well, they can appeal the injunction, but they're after, once there's an injunction, presumably, I mean, brought this case there has to be a trial. So we have to go into a trial. But we also have our trial in the fall. So we could be doing two parallel cases at the same time.
I have a question. So, I mean, it's
Just
very,
one?
I have a lot of questions, but I'm just thinking about how it's already been so confusing, right?
Yes.
And rather arbitrary in terms of the implementation.
Completely.
And I wonder, I mean, this is great that you're doing this, but will it almost add to the confusion, perhaps?
Well, I think it's pretty clear. It's kind of binary. The law either applies or it doesn't. And in this case, if we win our case, the law can't apply until there's a lifting of the injunction. Now, in the case of Fasken, the judge said, "Okay, we're going to put an injunction on until we go to court." Well, they aren't going to be going to court for a couple of months, so currently that part of the law does not apply.
Okay, and the same could obviously happen
For
in
us,
your case
yes,
as well.
yes, yeah.
So best case
We'll
scenario,
make it a nightmare for the government.
right? Best you become
Again,
a bit
I'm
of
good with
you
that.
become a bit of a pain in the backside for the government. I'm sure that's half of the reason you're doing this to begin with, to make them
Loving
aware
it,
of the fact
yeah.
that this is not the way things should be.
Exactly.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm curious, of the 30 people that are named here who came forward and told you their situation, was the hospital one the most egregious?
Oh, I think the one of the man who was educated here but had a Jewish name and might have had an accent was refused services because they didn't believe that he was an historic Anglophone. So it made me think, well, that means that for me or anybody else that may not have a name that matches what their thought of a historic Anglophone is, we're going to have to bring our high school leaving certificate
Good God.
or our blue form, whatever, to be able to be served by the government.
Well, and again, it's so arbitrary, right? Like that it's subjective. That one person was like, I don't really I'm not buying this guy's story. And you can't function like that.
But
as a
I'm not
society.
sure.
That's become so much part of the
Natasha,
problem, right?
Yeah, but I'm not sure. From what we've heard, a lot of these people, it's quite clear. Bang, 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 bang. They've been instructed to do this.
Yeah.
They've been given strict instructions. This is how you filter these people out. The Indigenous man who went to the License Bureau and was thrown out
Yes.
because they wouldn't speak English to him, and he caused a kerfuffle.
We had him on the show.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, we hear so often from Anglophones and Allophones just feeling powerless, like there's nothing that they can do. I guess this is something they can do. They can get on board.
This is exactly it. And we've been saying that, whenever people say, what do we do? What do we do? Well, that's why we were formed 2 years ago. We were formed to give a voice to the voiceless and to speak out for people and to take action within a democratic society. You don't riot. You don't, cause serious problems. What you do is you go to court and you plead your case in the public forum. And that's what we're doing.
So, first of all, it's worth mentioning again, since this is ongoing, if there are people out there who would like to, now that they're hearing this perhaps, and what, this happened to me, or I didn't get service here, you'd still want to hear from those people.
We would love that. And our website, www.thetaskforce.ca. You can contribute on that website and you can send us your stories.
And do you have something going on tonight, a gathering of some kind? Did I see this
We're
somewhere?
doing a webinar. Michael Bergman, who's our lawyer,
Yeah.
Bergman Associates, and I, we're doing a webinar to update people on what we're doing.
How can people go see that?
Go to our website and the link will be there.
Thetaskforce.ca.
Yep.
Okay. Andrew, thank you. And I guess more importantly, good luck.
Hey, it was great being in studio.
Wow, great
nice
having
to
you here.
have
I
you
love
here.
being behind a microphone from time to time,
Nice to have you here. Thank you for coming in.